I'm going to show you guys in 3 steps how I was able to hit 75% last month. So let's go get right into it. Now first off, just so that way you guys know this isn't just something that's being made up, these are the results from last month. Okay, I hit nearly 75%, gained 8.71 units, and yes, at $1,000 unit size, that's about 8,700. Alright, let's take a look at some of the key things here. Now, I do want to state this before there's comments on this. You guys will see on here that it says FanDuel a lot. It says $1,000 bets. These $1,000 bets consist of a lot of sports books put together. Okay? But I just label it as one sports book. The reason why is because it would throw my percentages off if I had 5 of the same bets. Okay? Because that would not be my true percentage of hitting. So I have to log it as one bet. So that's why you'll see that. So no, FanDuel does not let me bet $1,000 per bet on player props. These are plays that are mixed up throughout like 4 or 5 sports books. So anyway, let's go ahead and get down to some of the key factors that contributed to me being able to hit these type of numbers. Okay, some people might think, oh, that's not that much, 9 units in a month. Really not. But guess what? Most of everybody, if not every single person out there, is losing. They don't have months where there's a plus sign here. It's more or less negative. Okay, and their hit rate is usually in the 50% range. That is where your normal person is usually looking at, if they're even tracking their stuff. Now, second thing, the odds. All right, let's take a look at the odds here. These might be crazy odds, right, for people. People might think, I would never bet odds like this. There's no way you can consistently win. Every single month I get people in the comments that literally say there's no way to consistently win betting these types of odds. Constantly. I've been getting that for years. But yet, still, year after year, I'm able to show that it's possible. Now, the reason why it is possible is because of a couple key factors. It's consistency, which includes doing this over and over every single day, making this like another job / business that you have to run. And the other thing is staying consistent with your unit size. A lot of things that I see mistakes with people is they'll go and they will bet, let's say for example, let's say it's minus 280 play right here. They'll go and bet $280 to win $100 and their unit size is $100. Well, guess what? If they lose that game, now they're down 2.8 units. You do that for both of these games. This one's minus 265. You go back-to-back losses here. Now you're down 5 units. When if you just bet your unit size, you'd just be down 2 units. Big mistake that people make. So make sure that you're not making that mistake, because it will definitely save you from putting yourself in a chasing mindset as well. Because the person that loses back-to-back games and is down 5 units is for sure chasing that to try to get those 5 units back, and then they're going to dig themselves an even bigger hole. So you have to bet your unit size regardless. Okay, you don't need $1,000 unit size to be able to make decent money. Okay, you can correlate this number to whatever your unit size is, and that's what you're going to get paid. So a $100 unit size obviously will get you nearly almost $1,000. But you got to think of it as it's an investment. It's something that you're building. Okay, if you're starting out low, you're building. You're trying to build up to this number. I wasn't always $1,000 better, okay? It's not what I was. I started out 50, $100, but then gradually through stacking your bankroll, you're able to get to this level. And I've helped plenty of people get to that level that even started at lower unit sizes, $30, $40, $50. They've gradually got up to this level. It just takes time. Got to have patience, which is another key factor. Make sure you're having patience along the way, because look, it takes time. Like, this is just 1 month. Look, and you got to stay consistent. You got to be on your stuff. If you're not on your stuff and you're lacking and you're missing plays and you're not doing what you got to do, that's going to hurt your overall percentages. So you have to stick to that. All right. Now, another thing that you might look on here and you might see is mostly player props. Okay. There are a couple of totals or whatnot, over and unders, but majority are player props. Reason why behind that is what we're going to get into a little bit later in the video. Is I'm going to teach you guys exactly why the player props are some of the biggest areas of where you could find your plus edge at to give yourself an edge over the sports books. Now this is just pretty much baseball, okay? There's a couple NHL plays in there, but those are totals. But this is pretty much just baseball. So a lot of people think that during the summer, you can't make no money because it's just baseball. That's a lie, because there's actually way more player props and opportunities in baseball than there is really in any other sport. And I'm going to go through that with you guys as well so you guys can see exactly how that looks. But this is an up close, view to see what it looks like to actually be successful over an entire month. And I've showed you guys this stuff before. There's another video where it's 2 months ago, I think I had 83%. It's going to fluctuate, obviously. But as long as you're profitable, you're doing something that 99% of sports bettors can't do, which is actually make money and pull a profit. So let's go ahead and get into exactly how I'm able to come up with these plays and able to hit this percentage and be able to actually make some money. Now, before we get into the details, I teach this, okay? And I show many, many people already how to do this and to rise from a small bankroll to a big bankroll. If you guys want me to just teach you exactly how to do all this stuff in every single sport, all you guys got to do is go and click the link in the description. And I'll show you everything that I've learned in 10 plus years of sports betting and how I was able to develop a system that actually produces month in and month out. All right, so let's get into the 3 steps, the 3 keys to being able to hit that 75%. Your first one is going to be the odds. So this is where a lot of people get scared. They get scared at the odds. They try to look for this. Obviously, your minus 110s, your plus 100s, because it's just baked in their mind that that's where you should be playing, right? That's where everybody thinks they should be at. They should be looking for plays like this, trying to find value there. But they don't realize that it's very, very, very hard to be able to find value at these numbers that are actually going to give you a true probability of a plus edge, okay? Now, when I say that, what I mean by a plus edge is you are going to have a long-term advantage with a plus edge if you find that. With these odds, it's very tough to find because, for example, let's say a minus 110 play, okay? Implied probability on that, it's in the ballpark of 52%. But the play that you're looking at could literally have like a 49% chance of winning, okay? And that puts us at a negative 3% edge. Very hard to find positive edge plays at minus 110 and plus 100. Now, there are sometimes some opportunities, but you're not going to be able to do it long term because there's not enough. It's just not. So where are the odds in your favor? The odds are in your favor in the ranges from minus 160 all the way up to minus 400 sometimes. Okay, this is where you want to be. You want to be in this range. Now, just being in this range doesn't mean you just blindly go and bet minus 160s to minus 400s. That's not what that means. But this is the first step for odds-wise. You need to be in this realm. Make sure you're in this realm and not this one, okay? Because if you're trying to, think that I'm going to beat the sports books betting minus 110s, guess what? Everybody thought that, and they all end up losing, okay? So take that out of the equation. These are the odds that you want to be in. You want to be in this realm right here. Now let's go ahead and get to number 2. Number 2 is going to be the probability factor. Probability, okay? Implied versus true. This is where you're going to find, just like I showed you guys with some of those player props that I've done over the course of last month, where you're going to find an actual edge, okay? Implied probability is the odds, the probability of the odds, okay? Minus 200, for example. Implied, 66% probability. But what happens when that play that you're looking at that's minus 200 actually has a true probability of hitting 70% of the time, right? What happens here? What happens here is now you've given yourself a plus 4% edge on that play. Because why? Your minus 200 implied probability, but your true probability is 4% higher. Now, how do you find the true probability? For example, the true probability, let's just use one baseball play for an example, okay? We're going to say, let's use a hitter that's been pretty hot. Let's use Jose Ramirez, okay? Let's say Ramirez, let's say that this line, let's just use this line for example. For him to get 1 plus hit is minus 200. Okay? But we go and look at his data on the season against the pitcher that he's going against. You use all that data, the data for the whole entire season, and also the pitcher that he is going against. If he has a good matchup on the day, take that into account as well. If he has a bad matchup, that's not a hitter that you should be looking at. Okay? If he doesn't hit well against the pitcher that he's facing, he's going to get probably at least 3 at-bats versus that pitcher. So obviously you want him to have a good set of data versus that said pitcher, not something where he's 1 for 20 against that guy. Okay? But that's just brief right there of what you should be looking at. But let's say, for example, he has a good matchup. Then we look at his total season data for him to get a hit in a game. Now, you don't look at how many hits he's gotten in the season. You look at how many times he was able to get at least 1 hit in each game. So let's say, for example, we went and checked that out. And that ended up coming out to be 75% of the time this season he was able to get a hit in a game. That takes us to now what? That wouldn't be a 70% edge. That'd be even higher, obviously, right? It'd be a 75% edge. So what should this number be? You see him at minus 200 at your sports book, but his number should actually be somewhere in the realm like minus 370. That's what it should be, okay? But we're getting an edge and a discount here. And we're getting ourselves pretty much what? That'd be a 9% edge, right? 9% edge that we'd be getting. And that right there, guys, that simple little equation that I just showed you is how you could actually turn it around and really bet plays that are going to give you the highest probability of actually winning. Rather than just going out there and guessing and just throwing plays in or throwing parlays in, just going out there and straight betting higher probability plays right off the bat is going to make you a not losing sports bettor to where you're donating all the time, and it'll switch it around to where you're winning and you have that feeling of winning all the time and you're actually profiting. Because the thing is, yes, maybe you don't make a crazy amount of money off of a minus 200, right? You put down $100, you get 50 back, okay? Plus your 100, obviously, right? So you get 150. Not a crazy amount of money, right? It's not something, you didn't put $100 on a 6-teamer and win $5,000. But guess what? This little small edge here that you get adds up over time. Adds up through all the plays that you're putting in. Just like I showed you guys for that prior month, exactly what that looks like. Your small repeatable edge continues to add up. And as that continues to add up, your units that are gained continue to rise. And guess what? At the end of the month, if you continuously play plays like this, your unit gained will be way up, whereas in you will actually make money rather than trying to chase some other type of plays and you be down completely and have $0 in your account. Now let's go ahead and get to number 3. All right, we got what? We got the odds figured out. We also got the probability figured out. So now what do we have to mix in? We have to fix exactly how you're betting this, okay? We have to fix it because a lot of people don't bet correctly. So again, if that play was what? Minus 200 and your unit size is $100, then what are you betting there? You are betting 100. You are not betting 200 what the odds are to win 100. Yes, your return, like I said, going to be $50 on a $100 bet. But that is plus 50. Again, repeatable edge there, okay? Times that repeatable edge by 10, 20, what do you get? You get 10 units, okay? You could turn your $100 into your $100 bets into $1,000 profit in a month by hitting 10 units at that rate, okay? That's how you can gain yourself an edge, use that edge, and bet properly. Because again, if you are trying to bet what the odds are, you're gonna hit a roll where you lose 2 or 3 in a row, and at this rate, you would lose 3 in a row, you'd lose 6 units rather than 3 units. And that can be way harder to dig yourself out of a hole rather than half of that. Okay? But it's very important. Very important. And don't be scared of the odds. Do not be scared of the odds as long as you have a plus edge. Okay? I mean, hell, there are some times where there's some plays that are, let's say, minus 600 sometimes, but they have 100% probability. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's no such thing as 100% probability. There really is sometimes, where in season, there is a prop play that a player literally hasn't missed the whole entire season. And you could still take advantage of something like that. You definitely can, okay? Because when you have such a crazy, crazy percentage of that play hitting, you could still take advantage of it. Yes, you're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to make a lot of money off of it, but you're still going to make something. You'll still profit on that, okay? And understand, don't be scared of the odds because it's very important. Now, I use this analogy all the time, and I'm going to use it with you guys one more time so you guys understand what the difference is between putting yourself in a position to win and just guessing. Now, let's go ahead and say on the street, all right? Somebody's on the street. They're doing a little gambling trick, all right? They're trying to get somebody to gamble with them. So what do they have? They have 10 cups, okay? They got 10 cups. 5 have balls in them. They say if you lay $100 and you choose the cup that has the right ball in it, you're going to get $100. So you're going to double your money. All right? The other option, what they have is there's 10 cups. Okay? 8 of them have balls in them. And then they say, well, if you put down $100, guess what? I'm going to give you 50 back now instead. And you'll make 150 total. And like I said, here, you'll double your money. Okay? They give you 2 options. Which one are we going to go with here? You have to understand the probability factor here. What is this one? 50%. Okay? You got a coin flip. This is a 50-50 shot that you're going to pull a cup that has a ball in it. Over here, we have an 80% shot. Okay? Yes, we get half of the money in return. Okay? We only get half of our money back. Well, you don't get half your money back. You get half your money as profit. But you get an 80% chance that you're going to pull a ball out of one of these cups. Which one are you going with? Most people, and I did a test on this, and I asked a bunch of people. Most people fell in this realm here when you put it this way. When you put it this way, most people went here. But yet, people don't understand this translates to sports betting. Okay? This right here is a plus 100. And this is a minus 200. In sports betting, they gravitate here. It's the same analogy. It's the same analogy, guys. You find a play that has an 80% shot at winning that is a minus 200. That is the same as you taking this option where there's 10 cups and there's 8 balls in those cups. And you have an 80% chance of pulling one. Plus 100's 50% chance, it's a coin flip. So people gravitate in sports betting to the coin flip. They always do. You have to realize that you should be gravitating towards this sector. Once you realize that, then you will flip your mindset and become an actual winning sports bettor. And remember, when you have an edge, then every bet becomes a winning opportunity. As always, guys, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.